Bienvenidos a una nueva entrevista para códigooculto.com y el canal de YouTube A Enigma. Y como veis, aquí estamos con Paola Harris. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay.
So, in case there's somebody out there who doesn't know you yet, I'm going to briefly introduce you.
Okay.
So, Paola is one of the biggest reference in international ufology, and she's an investigative reporter and author with many published works. And she specializes in extraterrestrial phenomenon and has conducted many interviews to important witnesses. So that's just very brief. Is there anything else you might want to add?
One of the things, the witnesses that I've interviewed are Edgar Mitchell, Apollo 14 astronaut, who walked on the moon, Colonel Philip Corso, who wrote the book The Day After Roswell that explained back engineering of alien technology, which means they must have alien technology somewhere. They must have it. The case that I just talked with Jacques Vallée, that we both did the book Trinity, which is also in Spanish, that has a crash. So that crash went somewhere in 1945, and I don't think they're going to throw it in the trash. So when I met Colonel Corso, and he told me, and he was Army, in this case was Army, in the Army, the Esercito, they are looking at how this technology is made. And then the former Defense Minister of Canada, Paul Hellyer, I interviewed him. So I'm like you, I interview people. That's what I do. I'm a giornalista, non ufologa.
Certo. Certo. So, speaking about Corso, because I had a few questions regarding him here, because, let me see, one of your books, Conversations with Colonel Corso, you said you had some private words, between you two. And so I want to know if you can tell us what he has to say in the private sphere.
Well, what happened to Colonel Corso, he was the head of a nuclear missile battalion at White Sands, like Jacques just mentioned, White Sands, which is a military installation in New Mexico. And at one point, he noticed that there was a craft on the ground, and he went up to the craft with his car. He was colonel. Now remember, he is in charge of all the missiles that go up, nuclear missiles. And he said that out of a cave came a little man but he did have a helmet on. And he asked Colonel Corso to shut down the radar so he could leave. Colonel Corso saw the craft. It was appearing and disappearing and appearing and disappearing. And Colonel Corso, being Italian, from Sicily, he took out his gun and he pointed it at the being. And the being said, "Would you like to come aboard?" And the colonel said, "Are you a friend or an enemy?" And the being said, "I am neither, not friend nor enemy." And Colonel Corso said, "I will not go aboard your craft. But if I did, what can you give me?" And the being said, "A new world, if you could take it." So when I met Colonel Corso, I did not want that interview. I'm like you, I want military. And he said, "No, Paula, I had a contact, and I need to tell you." And on the napkin, I don't know how you say that in Spanish, the napkin, servilleta, he wrote, "A new world, if you could take it." So when the colonel died, he said, "Paula, you must tell the world, you must," and he was military, he was the head of intelligence in Rome at the age of 28, he did the Battle of Monte Cassino, he was in Germany, the man has all credentials. But the problem is that our people, our ufologists criticized him. And what happens in ufology is our own people that are doing research do not bother to do the research, and they criticize other researchers. So Colonel Corso only spoke in Italy. He did not speak very much in the United States. I brought him to Italy twice, and he went to San Marino, he went to Rome, and all the doctors and all the professionals came to speak to him because he had materials like the pen, he said, that would cut and then it would close the wound. It would cut the wound and then it would close it. Can you imagine? He said that was in it was in the Roswell artifacts that were given to him from General Trudeau. So these are things that if people want to know the truth, disclosure, they should start reading Conversations with Colonel Corso the day after Roswell, Trinity, the Crop Circle book, Reality with Colin Anderson. They should read everything so that they would know what's happening. It can't be just YouTube.
Well, right now, modern times.
I know nobody's reading.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore, no.
I actually used to write, and I had to make the switch to YouTube because nobody was reading anymore.
Nobody was reading anymore. The problem is, in order to record for history, Jacques had to write this as a historical book. Belongs in the library, belongs in history, because it really did happen, and it happened during World War II, at the end of World War II. So how do you get information? I mean, yes, we can do interviews, but the details of everything, has to be in a book.
So let me see. Oh, the thing you said about the little man with helmets on, does it remind you to the old Italian cases of humanoids encounters?
Yes, but the Italian cases that I know were Eugenio Siracusa, he's a contactee at the same time as Adamski. And Eugenio Siracusa and Adamski's message was, don't use the bomb, don't use nuclear. And Adamski was from America and Siracusa was from Sicily, from under Maunetna. He met people, he met space people. Both of them met space people. So that's one case I did. In the other Italian cases, I did the Amicizia friendship case. Yeah. I did Stefano Brescia, before he died, left me everything, including the voice of the extraterrestrials talking on the phone, where they weren't pronouncing the Italian correctly. So Stefano trusted me with the material, the movie, the films, the pictures, the photographs, Gianpietro, all the people. And then I went, like you would do, I went to Lago di Como and I interviewed Gaspare di Lama, who was still alive with his wife, who were part of that. So, and why do I do that? Not because anybody pays me or anything. I want to know.
You want to know. That's it.
There's no other reason. I want to know. I want to know. You tell me. You were there. You tell me everything.
And since you've brought up the Amicizia case, what's your take on the Humo affair here in Spain?
Well, it's too much material. It's very difficult. Huge. It's too much. It's some of it may be true and some of it may not be true. It's just too much. It's all together. So in one big casistica, so yes. I don't know how to tell you, but I will tell you that I do believe that there are extraterrestrial people
living with us.
Yes, absolutely. And I have lectured on the island of Ibiza, and I think that there's situation there.
Absolutely.
Formentera,
Yes, Balearic
the whole Balearic Island. But the problem is this. Let me explain to you really fast, because I sound like a teacher, and that's what I do. I was teaching English and history. I have a master's in education. In the 1950s, all the contact was human. It was Howard Menger, Adamski, Van Tassel, Southern California, Giant Rock, and these craft were landing and these spacemen were coming out. So they made the movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. After those contacts, there were no gray aliens. Did not exist. Were not in ufology. Zero. 1964, when Betty and Barney Hill had their abduction, our thing is only ufology. Only little gray alien abductions. They never talk about the human ones, even though the human ones are here. but they left the United States and went to Latin America. So Ricardo Gonzalez, that has contact with human types, Luis Fernando Mostacio, Sisto Paz. I interviewed all of these people. Charlie, his brother. I interviewed them all. The people they saw are human. There is no grays. The gray scenario is only in the United States, and I believe it's manufactured to keep the people in fear. So they will not know that most of the extraterrestrials look like us. They look like us. And if you think that, then you're more likely to want to meet them. If you think they're little gray aliens that are going to abduct you, you close your mind immediately.
You get
so everybody should know there was no grays before 1964. In California, Siracusa was blonde alien, blonde man. Dembski was, Van Tassel, all those people met human people.
Yeah, Nordic type.
Yes. And now they're in Latin America, so I don't do any work anymore in the United States.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I knew John Mack, I knew all people. There is a circus entertainment atmosphere that when you go to a conference, and I didn't see any here, there's little gray alien statues everywhere. How can a scientist go into a conference with little gray alien statues everywhere? You know, the scientist is not going to go in there. This is beautiful. The story of Robert Limos is real. They were people. They didn't look like us, but they were people. That is an inspiration, that Skywatcher. But if you were in the States, you would have all these little gray aliens, everybody dressed like gray alien t-shirt, and it has become ridiculous. And so I do most of my work in I've been to the Atacama Desert twice with Ricardo. I've been to Argentina, Bogota, Colombia, Montserrat, and Bogota. I've been in Latin America, working in Latin America, because that is where it's happening. What I did when I was in Chile, I met Otavio Ortiz, which was the friendship case in Chile, Chiloé.
Okay.
There was a friendship case in Chile, off the coast of Chile, the island of Chiloé. And when I was there with Ricardo Gonzalez, the journalists called me and they said, "Do you want to speak to Otavio Ortiz?" Fuentes had died. He was the one that had gone to the island to meet these people. They were Nordic looking. Yes.
Yeah.
He was ill. So there's the Italian friendship case. I interviewed Otavio. It's on my YouTube, so you can see me talking to Otavio.
Oh, fantastic.
It's important to connect them all.
You want some more?
So yeah, it's thank you. So I did the Chile case because I was there, and I asked, please, may I? And they were people. Those extraterrestrial were people. They were working with technology on the island of Chiloé, but they were people. We need to tell the world that who's coming here and who could be sitting in the audience are people. They're people. They're not little gray aliens that are coming to take your soul, to eat you, to do all these things. They don't need to do that. If a civilization is advanced, it doesn't need to scare people, take them out of their beds and do that. They don't need to do that. They can get the information another way.
Yeah, but then what do we make of all of those cases?
It is, some of them are done by the intelligence community.
Oh, MILABs.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are done by the intelligence community. Some others, we have to know that we live in a dimensional world. So some of them could be energies that are negative, that are not alien. They're negative. They could be a demonic, they could be negative energies, they could be... We live in a multi-dimensional world where you could see ghosts, you could see your grandmother ghost, you could see creatures, you can see all kinds of things. It doesn't mean they're alien. Doesn't mean they're
Keel's ultra-terrestrial hypothesis?
Yeah.
Hypothesis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ultra-terrestrial dimensional beings. And we find out usually that fear is who invites them. If you have fear, they feed on that.
Yeah.
So I've talked to more people that have met what they call angels and Nordics and beautiful people and spirit guides and that. They're not extraterrestrial either. They're spiritual. Spiritual. When we say ET, we have to mean somebody that is traveling here from another planet. So that is very difficult. In the 1950s, there was a reason. The reason was no nuclear bombs, no more. Today, with the messages of Ricardo and Luis Fernando, is the planet is dying. The planet is dying. Do you want to save the Pachamama? Do you want to save the planet? Do something. Do something to save your planet. We will help you, but you must do something.
All right, and also those guys at Friendship Island, I believe they took angels' names, right?
The what?
The guys, well, the ETs at Friendships, they took angels' names,
Yes.
Bible angels,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. So I would also want to ask you, since you have studied many abduction, close encounters, contact cases, which is the one that stands out for you the most?
Ricardo Gonzalez.
Ricardo. Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And the reason why Ricardo, because Ricardo is a researcher, he travels the world, and if you read Ricardo Gonzalez books, Contact from Planet Apun and Larca, I had a contact with Ricardo Gonzalez's space person. I saw him in Shasta. Yes.
Well, that's new.
I don't talk about it very much. I don't like. I'm a journalist. I'm very concrete. But Ricardo wanted me. Well, the being Antarel wanted. He said, "Bring Paula Harris to the forest in Shasta." So I was there. I saw him. I didn't understand anything. I didn't know what to do. But there were also 5 women with me. 5. No, 1, 2, yes, 3, 4, and I was 5. There were 5 of us who saw him, who interacted with him. Ricardo was up back on the hill. He didn't come with me because that person, whatever it was, had invited me to come down to see him.
And was he levitating?
I don't know if he was
Get out
on it.
from?
No, he walked. He had boots. He had a belt. He was, 10-foot high house, 10-foot high. He was the size of this room.
3 meters.
Yeah, he was 3 meters, and so that was what upset me. That he was a giant. That would upset me. If he was small, it would not upset me. But see, 3 meters, a man of 3 meters, and he was speaking in a language I could not understand at all. But it was in the forest. It was like he had a bullhorn and he was speaking in this language. And at the very end of the meeting, at the very end, 3 minutes, it was 3 minutes, he said to me, "Thank you," like a robot, turned around and walked away. He did one turn and walked away.
Like a robot.
Or like a robot.
The whole body turning.
The whole body turning. And so that happened in 2014. From that point on, I went to the desert of Atacama with Ricardo twice, camping with everybody to see the craft. And then I went to the Andes. I went to Huascaran, the mountain where they have a base. I went to Argentina. I went to Colombia. And so for me, it was shock. There's people that are taller than us that are coming to talk to certain people and giving them a message. So my job is just to go and, like I did with Robert Limos, to tell the story of the contact. Robert Limos, they allowed him to paint them. That's a true story. America doesn't know that story. They're still on abductions. They're going to go, oh, those people, why didn't they kill you? Why didn't they bring you in? No, they allowed Robert to paint their faces. That's an amazing story. And it happened.
But in that case, they look like lizards.
No, they have different kind of skin. Their eyes didn't look like lizards. They had big circles for eyes, big circles. And a woman had a crown, and I don't think a lizard wears a crown. It was almost like she was royalty and he was royalty. But there weren't just them. There were all the people on the top of the spaceship. Did you see all those people? On the top? They were looking out the windows. It's just another race. It's just, there's a case in Italy, Pier Fortunato Zanfretta. And those guys were 15 foot tall and had scales, but they aren't lizards. They had scales. They had scales on their skin. And they had red flashing eyes and,
and some horns.
Yeah. But it's just, I think, different civilizations, but they didn't kill him. They didn't, what they did, which was very interesting, is they put an implant so that he would go on the ship once a month and empty his memories so they could see how he lived, how he ate, how he, interacted with people, and he could see on the television screen everything he did for the month. Because those people that look like that could not walk around here. We would kill them.
Yeah.
So they're very smart. They put an implant, they just take one of us and they say, okay, how do you live? What do you do? It's like, if they're not going to hurt you, you are afraid. And I know I was afraid. And this was a man, so there was nothing wrong. If you are afraid, they're going to find a way to contact you so you calm down so they can get information. So the information I think they're getting is anthropologic. They're cosmic anthropologists. They want to know what this group, what this species, human species, is doing, how it's thinking.
Yeah.
If it really believes in love. If it really believes in everything they do. So the only way you can do that is observe. If they look like us, they're sitting here. And some are, I'm sure, like the Umo cases. But if they don't look like us, like Zanfretta, they're going to make him go and empty his memories. I think with Robert, he had lost his son in an automobile accident. And I think they came to calm him down, that he had lost his son, that told him his son is interdimensional. His son didn't really die, he's in another dimension. So it was 2 years after he lost his son. And Robert made that sculpture, which is very inspirational. So those people, even though they look like they have scales, their eyes are round though, they don't have cat eyes or anything. They look like they have, but I think it's the type of skin that they have.
Which is disturbing or what?
In my research, I have not encountered any reptilian stuff. It is created for me, from the Bible, as an archetype for the devil or the snake. People think reptilians are reptilians. Mostly they are Nordic looking, or they could be gray. They could have grayish skin, or they could have. Some even tell me the skin is a little bit green, but we have four different kinds of skin in the planet. Mm-hmm. We have the Native American red, we have yellow, the Asiatic, we have black, and we have. I mean, what would they think of a black person? Would that be a bad person because they're black skin? I mean, this kind of racism that we have towards aliens or extraterrestrials is kind of a racism.
Cosmic racism.
It's cosmic racism. Oh, they come down and they see someone who's black, what they say, it's...
If I do recall correctly, on the Zanfretta's case, he said that those beings were putting some kind of helmet on his head,
In the beginning,
and it hurt a lot.
because they put an implant.
Oh, okay. It was
The
for
only
that.
way he can remember what he did is a recording.
Okay.
So he has a recording. Now, the bad part about it is they didn't ask permission.
I was going to say
That's
that.
bad. I mean, but on some level, it made him famous. He's talking to people. He's at conferences, and made him. He was just what do you call it? A custodian. He was just
Yes.
he was watching houses.
Security guy.
Yeah. Now this super famous on some level.
Does he enjoy that?
No.
Then,
The reason why he doesn't enjoy it is because he doesn't understand what they want in the end. He's not happy with the idea that he is just an example of humanity. It's like anthropology. They're doing research. That isn't enough for him.
I
The
see.
research, but no, he wants it over. He wants it over with. However, he told me that when they do not contact him for a long time, he misses them.
Oh.
He told me that. Once you
Right.
used to have contact and then stops,
Something happened.
you feel bad.
Yeah.
Where are they? Why did they leave me?
What I'm struggling kind of to understand is how it is possible that, let's say, good, well-intentioned species or beings, whatever, are dismissing our free will in such way, because normally they do not ask for our permission. And somebody could make the argument like, well, we are doing the same to our animals, but we cannot communicate with animals the way they are able to communicate with us. They can simply ask for permission, and I'm sure
Yeah.
many would volunteer for that.
Oh yeah, I think that I don't know if this is true, but the people that are studying this say that we gave permission before we were born. I don't know if it's true. I don't
How
know.
can you prove that?
Because they say that they came into this world to be a contactee, that they gave permission before they were born. I don't know, because I'm not a
contactee.
I'm not a contactee. However, what I do, I feel, is an assignment. And I feel that the research that I do and the effort that I'm making to put together the puzzle, I've got to do it. And there's no reason. I mean, nobody made me do it. It's just an assignment that I'm just doing the assignment. It's like, we're going to give you this assignment. You do this. And you do it well. You do it the best you can. And this is what you are going to do. And so I said yes. So, but it's not easy.
But you mean when you saw this giant guy, or
No, when I
before
do
you were-
all the people I interviewed, all the world, my research, I have 5 books in 3 languages, is all interviews. My investigative detective research is for everybody out there. I did the research for them to know the truth.
Oh.
And it was an assignment. I don't like the word mission, because mission has religious connotation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's my mission to do. No, it's not my mission. It's my assignment. You go and do this. You interview everybody. You tell the world what they said, then they will die, and you have the history. What Jacques and I just did is history. And it's been very difficult, because I'm one of the only women. My children are not interested in this, so they do not talk about it. They've never read my books. They've never seen my videos. It's very lonely. The money I have spent to travel to all of these places, to South America, to
I
Europe,
can imagine.
it comes out of my pocket. Nobody says, "Oh, Paula, here's money, go do this." I take it from me. So it is very difficult, but I said yes to the assignment.
like you are feeling inclined
Yes.
to do so? All right. And so last question, because You see, I don't know if it's the same in America, but here there is kind of a controversy. The opinion is divided around the figure of Sitchin. And I know you've interviewed him a couple of times, maybe?
Yes, one time. And basically, I don't do ancient aliens. This is ancient aliens, you know, Sitchin, Anunnaki, you know, the Egyptians, the Inca, all that. I don't do that. The thing that I do not believe necessarily is that there is one story that explains humanity. Because Sitchin may talk about the Anunnaki, but if you go down to Latin America, the Popol Vuh, the Ant people, the Inca, the Aztecs is not Anunnaki. If you go to North Dakota, Lakota Sioux, the Native Americans, is not Anunnaki. They believe their ancestors came from the stars.
Yeah.
They believe they came from the Pleiades.
The thing is that rumors are saying that Sitchin, it was like an agent undercover, so to speak, to spread the lie and to convince us of everything ancient aliens stuff. So I wanted to know your take on that.
No, I met him. No, he was your classical. He was your academic. He who translated Sanskrit and that language. An agent does not spend years translating Sanskrit, translating tablets. I mean, that's a lot of trouble. It was his theory. So he's one of the people that had a theory that maybe the Middle East is Anunnaki. Maybe in the Middle East there was this situation, but not for the Native American Lakota, not for the Inca and the Maya. I think Sitchin has. I don't believe that Nibiru is coming back. I mean, everybody's waiting for this point. I mean, they are theories. They are theories, and he was a classic academic. He's not the type of person who would be an infiltrator, an agent. There are people like that, but it wouldn't be some older man like Sitchin. It wouldn't be him. I didn't know there was a controversy.
Well, sort of, not a huge one.
But what the problem is, and this is the problem, without staying with science and logic, what happens is groups of people come together in cults. And when they become together, well, also religion did that. I don't think Christ came down here and said, everybody do this, have churches, do this, do that. You know, what happens is when people get together with a philosophy, they form a cult. And that is what becomes dangerous, because that is not just the truth. You have to go everywhere. You have to go to China. You have to go to the Middle East. You have to go to get the truth. You have to go to all the populace of the planet and look at what their stories are. You can't just take one little group of people and say this is the truth, you know, this is what happens. And so there a lot of cult situations come out of there, and the Anunnaki cult, I keep hearing it. Maybe it's part of it is real. For this area of the planet, but certainly not for the Native Americans. You go to the Apache, the Lakota, the Cheyenne, the Arapaho. They don't believe that they came from the Anunnaki. They believe that their ancestors come from stars. In the movie Close Encounters, Spielberg was ingenious because that big mountain.
Yes.
That is really called Bear Mountain. Bear, like the Orso. The white people call it the Devil's Tower. They don't understand. They give it a negative connotation. Yeah. And it's Bear Mountain because the bear was climbing the mountain after the seven sisters, the Pleiades, the seven sisters. So the natives said, oh, everything is in the stars. You go there and the natives say, that's Bear Mountain. You go to the white man, he says, that's a Devil's Tower. So this is what we do with the unknown. We put a negative connotation.
Yes. we are scared of what we don't understand.
And Spielberg was great because he has a big craft coming over the tower and down, and he had that in the movie as the landing place for all the beings, you know. And in my career, I started working with Alan Hynek, who was in Close Encounters, and you know he comes out with the pipe. I worked with him for 6 years, and I'm ending my career with Jacques Vallée, who was the French scientist in the movie. Isn't that amazing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you for the interview, but mostly keep doing what you're doing. Ask the right questions.
I'm trying. I can't when I am this nervous, but I'm trying my best here.
Yeah, ask the right questions and use your own judgment for the truth. Use your own judgment.
It's always nice to have other people's opinions. Mm-hmm. I want to know on those issues. I was very intrigued to know your take on that. And everything.
Other people's attention. Yeah, my problem is that I don't think like the ufology community. I'm not in synchronization with them. They are in the abductions and the grays and the Antarctica and the secret space program. And I always call that the latest flavor of ice cream. Because in the ufology world, you have to have something new for everybody to watch. And people aren't thinking secret space. I mean, come on. You know, I interviewed people who on the secret space program 1950s. But it is not what people think it is. I mean, of course, we would have. But to have where I am right now, and that's why I'm not in alignment with all of this that's happening, all this conspiracy and all that. You know, we can spend all our lives on conspiracy, but the extraterrestrials want us to wake up and grow up. And in growing up, this species is still primitive caveman, okay? Mm-hmm. And they're going, when are they going to grow up? What these people are killing each other. They're you know, there's racism. When are these people going to grow up? So for me to be in Latin America, it's more on consciousness, raising consciousness, waking up. See, the planet is in trouble. The planet is going to die. You better take care of your children, your neighbor, and everything. We are here to watch that you survive this. We want you to survive. It's more raising of the consciousness, and that is not the field in America right now. It's Antarctica, you know, all the secret German stuff. I mean, that's not going to change anything. None of this will change anything. What's amazing with Trinity, and I'm just telling you this, I haven't told anybody else this, those beings knew Jacques and I were going to write a book, or they would have never crashed. Imagine.
What?
They crashed.
Yeah?
The two little boys saw them.
Mm-hmm.
And they never talked about it for 60 years. Until now. But those beings knew that they didn't crash for nothing. They knew, just like they gave Remy, who was 6 years old, who never saw a skyscraper, a vision of people falling out of skyscrapers in 1945, which is September 11th. Mm-hmm. They knew the future. And they knew that those, I would go to find them, and they knew that Jacques would do the work, and they knew that the statement, don't use nuclear bombs anywhere anymore, would come out of the book. They knew, because they're not on vacation, there would have to be a reason. They can control the ship, they could control that craft. They crashed. It was a donation. It was a donation to the planet. They knew. They know the effect of what they do. They know it. So I kept saying to Jacques, you know, they knew we were going to. They knew we were going to be here. They knew we were going to watch this, because we go to the crash site. You could see the mark. You could see the circle on the crash site. I mean, you see where it crashed, because it came in and made a long avenue, and then it stopped, and you can see everything burned underneath.
What's Vale's reply when you
He says, Paula, don't do that. Don't go there. He believes in no time, no space. There is no such thing as time. He believes in interdimensional. He believes we live in a matrix and a simulation and all that. But in the simulation, they knew we were going to go through this. Because it has a reason. It has a reason. They didn't, this was, the shape of the avocado was the same shape as Fat Boy, the atomic bomb case. The same, and weighed the same. 4 tons, 4 tons. So this is not a normal thing. This is like, oh, you're going to explode a bomb. We're going to show you that we are going to come, look like the bomb thing, and make a statement. There was not it was not a flying saucer. It was not a long flying saucer. It was just the same shape as, if you saw the video, you saw Jacques looking in the circle. That was the casing for the bomb. It was, where they put it inside and so I'm thinking, oh, well, this was all predestined. We just jumped into the matrix. We just did what they expected us to do. We released this to the world. So they expected us to do that. We're doing that. So it's very interesting when you look at your life and see why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and as much for a person with such a long professional career as you have. Mm-hmm. So you have to look back and
say
see,
why.
Yeah, I understand that totally.
What happened? Why do I meet Colonel Corso? Why did I meet these people? Colonel Corso.
You felt an impulse.
Colonel Corso was not supposed to speak to anybody. He was not supposed to speak to anybody, and they sent me from Italy, and I didn't want to go. I didn't even read the book. I didn't know what he looked like. So I get there and I can't do the story. It's like you. So I go, oh, how am I going to do this story? Who is this man? And I was in the hotel room next to him. Yes, by accident.
Really?
Yes, he came out of the hotel. Oh, you're there. I can talk to you now because they're not letting anybody talk to you. And he came into my room and told me the story about the meeting of the... But what are the chances I come from Italy? I'm living in Italy. I'm a journalist, and what are the chances I'm in the room next to Corso? I didn't even want to come. I don't want to do it, and I didn't want that interview. I wanted an interview with him in the Pentagon, how he examined the things and who he talked to and the money he gave. I didn't want contact. In fact, I never printed it. I said, if I print this, they'll think you're crazy. So I censored the story, which is a very bad thing to do. I said, I'm not printing this. So yeah, and all these synchronicities are the way that the language of the universe, it's very interesting. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, you just kind of go with the flow and be water.
Be water.
Be water, my friend. And just,
yes.
Yeah, just go with it. And let it guide you and take you whatever you need to be.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Okay.
So, Paula, it's been amazing and I'm so honored for this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And that's it.